Lads, we are back with no technical difficulties at all. Nothing.
None.
Or speech difficulties. Nothing at all.
No,
Nothing.
no, not at all. We're professionals. Totally. Great.
Totally.
How are you guys? Alex?
Not bad. Can't complain. How are
Good.
you?
Wish my mic didn't hate me. Daniel,
Yeah,
how are you?
Good. I'm pretty energized. I had a solid walk before this, so I've been good.
Good. That's part of your pre-show ritual, isn't it?
It is. It actually helps, especially when I work from home.
Yeah.
I need to get up for a bit.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Guys, it's a new episode of the podcast. You know what that means. It's time for the hockey cards. Does everyone have their packs with them?
I do, but I think we have to start the show with something else.
Okay.
What?
Sheldon Keefe dyed his hair.
That's right. You wanted to.
Come on. I can't believe you forgot.
So Daniel, last night, like us and Mike are watching the game over FaceTime, right? And I just kind of stop. I'm like, guys, what's up? I'm like, is it me or did Sheldon Keefe dye his hair? Because it looks like he did. He's all of a sudden got some color back, like he's coaching the Marlies. I don't know what's happened, but he has definitely dyed his hair, like Friedman.
Yeah. Oh.
Seriously, look it up. I swear he did.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Elliot Friedman or Sheldon Keefe?
Both.
Sheldon. In this case, Sheldon, but yeah, Elliot, I can't see a guy who works that hard, that much stress, those hours, that hair that he's losing, and there's no wisdom hair in there. I refuse to believe it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that's what I thought we wanted to start the show with today.
I was just so angry by my mic not working, guys.
What color is his hair? Because I just think of gray now. What is it?
Blackish.
Like a black color? Okay.
There's still a morsel of it. Well, there was only a morsel. Now he's just sort of put half the dye in there, but
yeah.
I don't know if he tried to make it up. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe the cameras in Philadelphia picked it up differently, but that was me. That was me. All right, time to do the hockey cards, guys. Again, don't look at them.
Okay.
Open it. We're going to reach for the middle card first. Okay. So.
I just hear ruffling.
What? Sorry. Okay, my middle card is an upside down Kale McCarr. I have this exact same card already. What a start.
Reminds me of Sunny D, that color, the orange.
I loved Sunny D when I was younger. I'll say that. Okay, go ahead, Alex. What's your first card?
Okay, my first card is gold Nathan McKinnon. I don't know what the gold means.
That's pretty cool. I think, Daniel, you had the gold Larkin last episode, right?
Yeah. The gold etchings. That's what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Okay.
Collection.
All right, my middle card is... What is this?
It is
a canvas Artemi Panarin.
I really like those canvas cards, eh?
Yeah, I feel nice.
I don't know. Well, yeah, they do. Okay. Daniel, why don't you open your first normal player card and let us know who you got?
All right, I got John Gibson.
Wow.
Gibson! Oh, you got your guy! I'm happy for you.
I love it.
That's the card you wanted.
It was. Looks nice. Good picture they chose.
He's been
That's
waiting.
a good one, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Congrats to him, by the way, player of the week.
Really?
Good for him.
Good for him. Wow, that's good for him. He's been doing a lot then. The Ducks aren't as awful as we thought they'd be.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Alex, go ahead. Who's your first card?
My first card is Nikolai Ehlers.
Hey, Mr. The William Nylander of the Jets.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just for some reason, I don't know what's up with that, but they hate Ehlers for some reason. They just won't play him properly. Okay, my first player is upside down yet again.
Letang.
Chris Letang. Oh, I'll take the French guy. I needed another defenseman. That's a huge pick. I love that. Okay, Alex, your final card, please.
Final card is Matthew Barzal.
Oh,
woo.
Yeah, the rookie dude's pretty good, eh?
What?
So, the rookie is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. I got 3 centers.
Right, that's how you build a team. Go ahead, Daniel.
Exactly.
Who is your?
All right, my final card is
Who is that?
Tyler Bertuzzi.
Oh, he won't play for you because you live in Canada, but that's
I know, but it's okay.
Okay, my final player is upside down yet again.
Ooh, man, they really
accurate Zach Parise.
They goofed that one up, guys. They goofed that one up.
You know what's funny? This is my second Zach Parise.
Oh my god!
So of the 3 cards, I already have 2 of them. I'm pretty mad about that.
I love those cards where these guys they're the ones of the guys that signed late into the season. You knew these cards were already made, or maybe they were.
I still think these are the last year ones.
Probably.
Yeah, like the Jack Eichel one, I understand. Like, listen, he's still on the Sabres, but like Zach Parise, like they bought him out in the summer.
Yeah.
Yes, I get we didn't technically know where he was going, but like we all knew he was going to the Islanders, like pretty much.
If they were gonna, I always would love to see where they used to do this before, where there were those off-brand hockey cards that were like they weren't the big guys, and then you'd see these players with like it just says NHL on it.
Yeah,
they should do that. They should do that for free agent cards.
I think so. Well, yeah, because again, that's further proof that these are last year's cards because he's not an Islander.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just I believe it. Okay, well, guys, the league is changing. The league is changing. Since last episode, a lot of stuff has happened. We've heard from John Doe 2's mother. We've now seen a general manager step down from his position in Bob Murray. Even more stuff about Brad Aldridge. And sort of now, if there's an investigation with the PA, I think the Hockey Hall of Fame might need to be looking at themselves too for some stuff. We'll talk about that a little later. The update on the Aaron Scaldi stuff. There's been a resolution there. There's a player on the block, but we're going to start with the most important stuff. This, like a few other episodes, there's going to be a lot of focus on more real-world stuff, the more important hockey stuff. We're going to try and talk about the Habs and the Leafs a little later, but unfortunately, it's just there. It's just. I don't mean it like the way I mean this. This might come across a little weird, but that stuff isn't nearly as important as some of the stuff that we need to talk about here. And I say unfortunately is because it's just a shame that it seems like the NHL and sort of the skeletons in the closet are starting to be brought out around here, and even further within the league. So first off, Rick Westhead had spoken to John Doe 2's mother. That is the mother of the high school boy that Brad Aldridge sexually assaulted. And he then served jail time for it. Not nearly enough, but... And of course, that is the guy who is alleging that the Blackhawks gave a letter of reference. We still don't know what's going on there. And it wasn't easy to listen to. For me, it was just as bad as Kyle Beach's interview because, yes, you didn't hear from the victim themselves. But if you've ever sort of really wanted or you didn't tell how it can affect a parent, much less a mother, it's, again, warning that if you're going to go and listen to it, it's not easy. No. But I credit to the mother. Of course, they didn't name her or anything because for obvious reasons, but she gave a lot of context into just sort of how it's affected John Doe 2, the family too. And I know I'm talking a bit for the setup here, but the reason I bring it up when we're starting with this is the league continued to handle this the wrong way. We know now that the league will not be providing or they will not be covering the price of counseling for John Doe 2's family and John Doe 2 himself. Apparently, a league source or a representative in an email said they're going to leave it up to the Blackhawks. And for those of you who don't remember, the Blackhawks, they are trying to reach a settlement with Kyle Beach, but in court they are trying to get the original Kyle Beach suit as well as the John Doe 2 suit thrown out of court. And they're giving it to the Blackhawks. I don't think we can put more on besides adding to our previous conversations about it. I think we need a shake up with the league. It's not just give your heads a shake. It's Bettman and Daly need to go at this point. I don't know what more there needs to be said, but
yeah, no, it's just it was disappointing. Obviously, like first off, reminder: Rick Westhead reported it's been less than a week, maybe, that multiple sponsors have, quote, put the NHL on notice to improve their response to this scandal. Like this was a thing that was said. And I get that the league is not obligated to do anything, but this response just goes to show their lack of, number one, empathy, and two, their lack of understanding of the seriousness of the situation that one of their teams put someone else to. They clearly lack the understanding that one of their, quote, glorious organizations, the ones that make them money, let this happen. And it bit them so hard in the ass that Brad Aldridge went on to have other victims, including a minor, which he was jailed for. Like, to me, how can you watch the same organization who swept this under the rug in 2010 and in 2021 let them handle this? Like, I don't care if no one's there anymore from 2010. And I get, we can say, well, the warts is, and they didn't know, but I no longer have trust in the organization to do the right thing. I just want to read this one part to just get my point across from the Jenner and Block report. This is what it says, quote, on June 16th, 2010, the director of human resources met with Aldridge and offered him the option to undergo an investigation into what occurred with John Doe or to resign. Aldridge chose to resign and signed a separation agreement during the meeting. No investigation was conducted. Aldridge received a severance and a playoff bonus and continued to be paid a salary for several months. And then in 2021, this same organization, when the league was made aware of the lawsuits, the Blackhawks said it was pretty much nothing and not to worry about it. Not only this, but the same organization that still has players that taunted Kyle Beach after the fact and those guys did nothing. The leadership there, not only have I lost trust in this league, but this team and their players. For years, we were told that the amount of leaders and the leadership on that team that it has. And each and every one who stood idly by and did absolutely nothing. Nothing. That's a true failure of leadership, and it is pure cowardice because they chose their quote unquote normalcy over making sure a potential future teammate was okay. I'm genuinely not entirely sure how the league saw what happened and believes that this organization can properly handle it. Their lack of response and their clear lack of care of the situation, which was clearly evident by that embarrassment of a press conference, is a clear sign to me that the NHL will always be the fourth best league in North America in every single aspect. That is all I have to say. Sorry.
No worries.
That was needed. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. Well, freaking take a drink of water. That was That was good. Daniel, it really just is another thing of it's the league being like, I don't want to take responsibility for this, even though isn't it just rich that the team that you forgot about, I kind of thought of as Alex was going here, the team that every time there was an outdoor game or a big TV event, you were throwing the Blackhawks out there.
That's the thing I think about is when we think about the old boys club or we think about hockey culture or, the good old days. I remember reading something recently and it's a pretty old quote, but I know a lot of people were using these as Twitter responses, is that segment they got from Brett Hall about how he said, this is what we used to do, for example. And I guess the examples he did was like, we used to go out after games and we used to go out drinking. We used to go to strip clubs. We used to do all these things. And then now he's like, oh, and suddenly everything's under a microscope. And that part is not quoted, but he mentioned it afterwards where a lot of the movements of what the players are doing now is tracked. But that's the thing. That's what you sign on to do. And I think that when he brings up this point, it's something that I feel like is being protected in the league, is something that I feel that, I'm not saying any other sport is perfect, but it's something that they're trying to open up to. They're trying to get rid of. And I feel like with the NHL, they're trying to maintain something that it's confusing and mind-boggling to me, because it is something that what Alex said, that it's going to keep them as the fourth best league because it just refuses to grow and it refuses to really kind of see what we mentioned of the writings on the wall, where yeah, we know now that from an outside perspective, we're seeing what people are saying about hockey culture. And then even huge sponsors are saying that, all right, listen, we're going to put you on watch because we don't like what you're doing. This is something that you really messed up with. And even now the NHL and the league is saying that, all right, let's not actually make a statement or pry this open. Let's just shift the blame again and say, listen, we're the league. We're not the Chicago Blackhawks.
Just two quick things. I just want to stem off of what Daniel was saying there, and then that's it. Number one, the thing with that Brett, and I know exactly what Brett Hall quote you're talking about. I remember listening to it. It was on Hockey Central. The thing with that is what they're missing. The people who say that are not understanding is no one's telling these guys not to go out and have fun. What we're trying, the point we're trying to get across is that they are not invincible superheroes who have, there can be no consequences. There is a line. If you cross it, then you have to pay the consequences. They can't be this imaginary, well, they're athletes, so they get special treatment. That's not it. Number two, I said fourth, but if I'm being honest, I think they're maybe like sixth or seventh. I think Formula One is more popular. In the United States, Formula One is more popular after Drive to Survive. Remember that, guys. And number two is UFC. Like, I think UFC is just more popular in the US than hockey is.
I could believe it. Yeah. Especially for this weekend, because I actually had the chance to, at least from a fan perspective, see a race and actually watch UFC. And
right.
Yeah, you could feel it, especially on social media.
By the way, when it was Brett Hall. I mean, not either the shining beacon of morality or the Halls to begin with. They're just, or most of those old school hockey players aren't really the best, people. Very few. Not a great example. So I mentioned it earlier. A big sort of issue also here is so Brad Aldrich, I think it was Ryan Rashog who had this, or the first person I saw have it. That Aldrich was apparently given a second cup celebration. And this was while he was on probation after his jail time for what he did to John Doe after he sexually assaulted him. Again, convicted sex offender. Who was on probation afterwards, after his jail sentence, was given another day with the cup. Now, the Hall of Fame have claimed that no one knew. That is not a good enough answer. That is, again, another investigation into them is do the Hall of Fame take the chance to follow up with their former, I always think of how much pressure did it take them? And I know it was like players like Howe and that. It took a lot of pressure for them to can Alan Eagleson, right? Mm-hmm. I really wonder, just how much sort of negligence is going on in the Hall of Fame, especially because they were so freaking. It took so much for Aldridge's name to come off. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago where they were claiming, it's the NHL had to make the decision. Oh, we can't do it with the cup without their consent, even though you're the Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame. No one knew. It's just not a good enough excuse. How can you not simply, I would assume he would have to request it, obviously.
Yeah.
And again, this also doesn't happen if the Hawks do their due diligence, by the way. How does that sneak in? How did no one think to check that?
Is it fair to say that it's not a lot to ask?
No, not at all. No. Not at all.
He was jailed. He was in jail. It was a crime. He was in jail for a crime. Is that unrealistic of me to say, well, maybe
Alex.
I don't know.
You know what they would say?
What?
He wasn't a member of an NHL team at the time. Doesn't count. That's what the league.
So then he shouldn't have the cup.
Hey, listen, I don't know what the Hall of Fame are thinking. They'll take the time to be like, oh, we got to make this freaking, this statue of a women's hockey player. How about put an actual women's hockey player on your damn statue? But we're not going to take the time to double check who we're giving the Stanley Cup to. I don't get it. I don't get it. And sorry, that's not me discriminating women's hockey by. I'm just saying, Kim St. Pierre is about to go in the Hall of Fame. and like we have all these great women's hockey players, but you won't even put one's face to be represent. That's just me though. Side thing. There's a lot wrong with the Hockey Hall of Fame. Again, like it feels like they don't really value some players outside of North America too. Hi McGillney and what he sort of did. Like I feel like there needs to be something with the Hall of Fame to really look at themselves. I don't know if they're like, we're not going to worry about this right now because I think this weekend is the celebration for a Ginless class.
Yeah, Marion Hossa, ironically.
That's so. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. I, by the way, wonder, guys. Are people gonna try and bodyguard Taves and that out of the hall when all is said and done? Because let's be honest, they shouldn't be in there, right? Like Quenneville shouldn't be. Kane and Taves, after what they said, probably shouldn't be in there.
The thing is, okay, like I don't know, because I already know that those are the questions that are going to be thrown at Marion Hossa.
Yeah.
Because when we look back on that team, even though he didn't wear an A, he's one of the veteran guys.
It's Marion Hossa. It's Marion frickin' Hossa. I'm pretty sure he must have won. No, did he ever win a Selke? But that is one of the best players of all time. After who had a well-established career by the time he got to Chicago.
Marion Hossa had 15 points in 22 games, and he had 51 points. That's playoff games. He had 51 points in 57 regular season games.
He's a Hockey Hall of Famer.
He is about to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
If he knew, it's very plausible that he did. Listen, Quenneville has no right to go in there, right? Could you argue the players were not in that meeting? Sure, but let's not ignore
taunted him.
Yeah.
In training camp, they taunted him.
Well, hold on. Because I don't recall them naming specific players.
No, they didn't.
Be careful, right?
Okay, players taunted him, and leaders stood by and did nothing.
Who were the A? So it was Keefe, Seabrook.
It would have just been one. It would have been that group. It would have been their same core players. It doesn't.
Because the guys who spoke up was what? Brent Sopel and Nick Boyden, I believe.
Probably around there, but still, you know what I mean, right? It's those core group of guys. Just to go back, sorry. The point I'm trying to make is baseball, Barry Bonds and that. There's always going to be worried about those greats because of steroids, obviously. So if that's going to do it, I would think sexual assault is a lot more of an issue than that. Now, in sporting, obviously, you don't want to cheat, but sexual assault goes beyond the game. You know what I mean? Those guys really in their part, and not to mention, I think people are going to have a problem with Patrick Kane getting in for allegations in his past. So that's all I'm saying.
So
I like this.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, just one thing I want to say for baseball, and this is something that I know it's a hockey podcast, but I just want to give credit to the MLB with this, is when there has been moments of sexual assault and domestic assault, the MLB has been one of the forefront of the leagues to actually punish players for that. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the steroids thing, I'm not surprised as well, because when people are going to say that, okay, yeah, but it was Kane and Taves. It was these guys who really, in a way, were they were up there in the 2010s. But at the same time, when I look at baseball and I think about the steroids, or I think about all these things that are coming out now, where we got to put our foot down on the sexual assaults, on the domestic assaults. It just, that's a whole generation of stars that were there, and they're not going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I would say none of them. But that's my personal belief, and that's for multiple reasons. What I think is going to happen is I think there's going to be people who are going to argue Joel Quenneville should not be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, because an integral part of being a head coach beyond winning is leading your team. You are the head leader of that locker room. You're beyond the captain, and you failed one of your players immensely. immensely. You failed one of your players. Now, what they're going to say about Kays, Tane, Keefe, and Seabrook is, well, you get put into the Hockey Hall of Fame based on the achievements you have. And you're not being inducted as a captain. You're being inducted as a player, and people are going to make the argument that is separate from them being inducted. I don't agree. I personally don't agree, but that is my guess as to what will happen.
Mm-hmm. Throwing it out there, just what I think will happen is the players will probably get in, though there is no excuse as to why Bowman and Quenneville should get in. Absolutely.
Right.
No.
100%.
Especially what the findings were. Bowman has the best chance of the two of them because he was compliant. But like the way he threw like Quenneville and that under the bus was like, there's no way, absolutely no way that they should get in. So we know that apparently the NHL have put out memos to teams saying that if you see assault or anything, say something. We don't have the exact memo they sent, but I would love to know the exact language, like if it is an internal thing or you tell us. That's what I would like to know, because this Bob Murray stuff, I don't think the league ever really got involved, which is interesting. And for those of you who don't know what that is, Bob Murray has resigned as Ducks GM after being placed on administrative leave like earlier this week, and I think it would have been the day after is when he resigned.
Yeah.
Now, first off, we joke about Bob Murray all the time and the way he's been building the Ducks. That's completely separate from this. For everyone knows, I know we constantly rip on him as a joke, but that is separate from this. Mm-hmm. So. This is from Frank Saravelli. The allegations of mental warfare, repeated verbal abuse, and harassment of players and staff, plus intimidation tactics and temper tantrums that fostered a culture of fear in the organization. We also know that apparently he'll enter an alcohol-related abuse program, and Ducks ownership apparently will pay for it. And that information, by the way, is from Emily Kaplan about him going into the program and that. It's another domino falling. First off, I think we should say if he's entering this program, he has a problem. Mm-hmm. We hope that Bob Murray gets well. You see Jim Montgomery has sort of reintegrated perfectly into assistant coaching. Hopefully Bob Murray can figure out those problems. Put that to the side, though. This is a guy who has been in charge of the Ducks since... Daniel, tell me if I'm wrong.
2007, 2008, when Brian Burke went to the Leafs.
Yeah, so that's over a decade of work.
But he's been there since 2005.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And it you know what? I feel like in hockey, it's weird. This language, aka the intimidation tactics, it's not surprising to hear that in the sports environment. I'm not saying it's right, obviously. It's not. But I'm not surprised by this almost. Not that Bob Murray was this. I'm not trying to slander him. But I'm not surprised that this sort of stuff is started to come out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It makes sense that that's what's going on. I'm sure it's going on with different teams. It's just, again, a matter of a line. Like, these things happen, but there is a line, and if you cross it, you should face the consequences for it. And I think that is what's happening here. One thing I saw one account, one Twitter account, and I don't remember which one it is. I mean, kind of making the owners out to be like saints here because they're paying for it and stuff. But he's been here for 8 years. Like, I get, so yes, the NHL memo worked, right? I think, Adam, when we were talking about this, you had said, hey, at least the memo worked. But it's like, okay, so we didn't know that this was wrong for the last how many years? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Credit where credit is due, but there's still questions that should be asked, that he's been a general manager for 13 years, and it took a sexual assault cover-up and a memo for this to come out.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
By the way, sorry, before we throw you, Dan, obviously because you're the Ducks guy here. This is like the full Kaplan tweet about the memo. The NHL sent a memo after Blackhawks case and basically told teams if you know of any abuse, you must report it. Sounds like that led some in Ducks organization to question Bob Murray's behavior. Some allegations may have been years old, but people feel more empowered to speak up now.
Yeah, like listen, I know like we've joked about it quite a bit, and he for like a good portion of it, he was a good GM and everything, but again, we don't know how everything was going with the organization, and I know that it's the Ducks are not a big market. They don't have like a marquee guy they're going to talk about with it right now. Like, literally the only guy they have right now is Ryan Getzlaf, and he did have a solid response to it after, I believe it was the Canucks game. And he mentioned how, the game as what you've seen it before, you see it 20 years ago, it's not the same. But at the same time, he acknowledged what needed to happen. And it's like when someone says something, you have to listen to them. And that's why I like there's credit for that. But again, we don't know enough about what is going on with that. I know that we just wish Bob Murray the best. And honestly, like I don't know what else to say for this one, because it is something that it did kind of, it was pretty jarring to me. Mm-hmm. In a sense, I think it's just because every day we have something that it's coming out and it's just showing what's going on around the league. And for this, like, I don't know what else to say. Just, I really do wish Bob Murray the best. And
you probably mean this too, but I know I asked directly about Murray, but you got to think if like hockey is your dream job, right? And if you're in sports working for a team, that's the golden thing, right? Is like anyone he's affected to, you hope that it's great you take care of Bob Murray, who may have this problem, and obviously probably does, going into rehab and all that. But you want to make sure that these people who he has been abusing also are taken care of.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of different abuse in the world. And verbal stuff, like mental abuse, and that is a very real thing. And you got to think, if you're going to this great job, you work for an NHL team, one that for a long time is extremely competitive in that, you're allowed to be part of it, and you just have a boss that just could be just constantly dressing you down. And who do you report him to?
Yeah.
How is a scout going to go to the owner and say, this is what, there's, we don't know, man.
That's something that Ryan Clark of The Athletic wrote about, is that for the longest time, Bob Murray was the guy for the owners. I think the Samuelis. Yes, I'm sorry if
I think.
Yeah,
Samuelis.
Closer, yeah.
Where they, for years, I remember when they bought the Ducks from Disney, and they kind of just distanced themselves from the media, and they let Brian Burke and then Bob Murray kind of deal with everything. And Bob Murray was really their guy. And in his piece, Ryan Clark is saying now that there are a bunch of victims that were here. There are people that were affected by Bob Murray. And now is not the time. And now is not the time to shift the blame or shift the responsibility on people in management. It's like, now it's the time, as the owners, as the longtime owners, for you to acknowledge that we have to help the people that have been affected by Bob Murray.
You also just got to kind of look at, like, how far does it go? Like, is his assistant done this? Is it like this through the coaching staff? There's like, people were joking around. There's no, like, oh, it's funny. That's why maybe Babcock worked so well when he was coach there.
Yeah.
But it's everything is kind of making everyone question every little thing. Like when it comes to like people who come out of certain organizations. Alex, you want to say something?
Yeah, you brought something up there, and I think it kind of ties both the Chicago stuff, this situation, as well as like the stuff that happened 2 years ago. And I know it happened 2 years ago, but I think based off that press conference, clearly still prevalent. The NHL really needs to find a way to create a system that allows people to phone this in to someone, whether it's someone who's going to do it. Because when Gary Bettman says, well, they can tell me anything, I don't believe him. I don't. Like, you look at him and tell, like, I would not tell him a single thing. I would not tell him the slightest of secrets of mine.
There's no trust there. Yeah.
No. So they need to come up with a better system overall, or a system to begin with, where players, scouts, coaches, whoever, marketing departments can call in and put these issues forward, or else we're going to be stuck in the same situation, and it's going to be a vicious loop.
And it needs to be independent.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Most important thing. I'm just going to read two quick things. One is going to be the Ducks statement. I'll start with that. Following is a statement from Ducks owners Henry and Susan Semelli. First and foremost, we apologize on behalf of the organization to anyone affected by misconduct from Bob. We expect every member of our organization to be treated with respect and will not stand for abuse of any kind. Bob tendered his resignation this morning while also informing us of his decision to enter an alcohol abuse program. While we do not condone his conduct, we fully support his efforts to improve his physical and mental health by asking for help. We now begin a methodical, extensive search for a permanent GM to lead us forward. We expect to complete this process no later than next summer. And then this is from Bob Murray himself. I want to apologize to anyone adversely affected by my behavior. I vow to make changes to my life, starting with enrolling in a treatment program. I want to thank the owners and Michael Schulman, as working for them has been the highlight of my career, or one of the highlights of my career. As I step away from the Ducks, I will focus my attention on where it should be, improving my life for the betterment of my friends and family. Two things. I don't think Bob's statement was perfect, by the way, there, but at least two things that were done very properly there, or one thing. They both apologized. Stan Bowman did not do that to Kyle Beach, everyone please remember. So it's not perfect, but the standards of apologies in this sport is in the sewers, I should say, but you know. Okay, and just a last thing of the sort of parade of just crap, I could call it. So apparently the Penguins and Aaron and Jared Scaldi in that whole lawsuit and that, apparently there's been a resolution. Everything is confidential like normally happens. I don't think they've quote unquote called it a settlement. And I'm not going to take the risk with the legal terms. We don't know exactly what's been going on, but the Penguins announced it was done. There's not much there, so I guess... not to speculate, but it already sounded like USA Hockey were pretty clear on going with Bill Guerin. This will probably ensure that he's going to be doing his thing, and he'll be the GM of USA Hockey. And I don't know, guys. I don't know what to say. It shouldn't be him, even if we don't know the results of these findings or anything here.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there was a victim who claimed this happened to her. And you always want to believe victims, and sorry, not her, Aaron Scaldi. You want to believe victims and all that, survivors. At the same time, though, you could have gone with anyone else. Anyone else. Yeah. Anything you guys want to add on the Scaldi stuff, or?
There's not much for me to add other than again, there was that investigation, and it lasted no longer than 5 days.
Yep.
It was quick. Yeah.
It was quick. And I don't know what investigation takes 5 days.
And they didn't want anything to leak.
No.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And Daniel, anything from you, or?
Yeah, I've been following this one for a while, especially when it did come up, it was very parallel with what was going on with the Blackhawks. And I guess for this one, it's just I was hoping that there'd be more, I guess, reporting on what was going on for this one.
Yeah.
Because I really kind of felt that with the Blackhawks, there were so many high profile names there that even if they tried to bury this, there was always something coming up for it, right? But for this one, it had more to do with, I guess, and I don't want to say lower level, but it was people that you normally don't see in the spotlight. Mm-hmm. And for this, it's just disappointing because now it's just, they're reaching a settlement and we're not going to disclose any more details.
Mm-hmm. I great PR for USA Hockey. That's all I'll say. All right. Now it's a sharp turn into the hockey. It's difficult, but it's one we have to do here. And you know what? The rest of the show should be fun. Should be a good time to talk about hockey. And we're going to talk about something fun here because the Avalanche, if they do what I think they're going to do, they're kind of dumb. And that is from Mike Chambers, apparently, of the Denver Post. I believe Sam Girard was the big piece in the efforts to get Jack Eichel here, and I still think Girard is going to be traded. I think the Avs want a forward for him, and they want to lose his $5 million long-term cap hit. They were highly unhappy with Girard's play in the second round series against Vegas. His turnovers, he didn't produce offensively. He was not good, and I think that's lingered into this season. And primarily, it's Bo Byram that has shown the Avs that he is better than Girard. Funny enough, at a point yesterday, for some reason, Girard left practice early. And on the second power play, Byram had his spot. But he will be playing tonight, Girard against Vancouver. Okay, so if you look at Sam Girard, for those of you who don't remember, Sam Girard was a really big piece in the Duchesne trade. I think he was one of those pieces where you're like, oh, this is beautiful. I love this so much. It's hilarious that Nashville gave him up. I'm just going to get up his hockey DB stats. He's a little undersized, but he's a great skater. Mm-hmm. He's a left-handed defenseman. He's offensive. He can get you 30 points, no problem, right? And here's what I really like about Sam Girard. He's from Quebec.
Oh, my God.
I'm not saying.
So Marc Bergevin will be after him. Look at what he did, the escapade he did this summer, right?
It makes sense. Go get the French guy.
Yeah.
Before we sort of get to speculation, I just don't get why you would trade that good of a player. I think he's playing with Jack Johnson. No wonder he's going to look bad. No offense, Jack Johnson.
Oh, they have both the Johnsons. I always forget.
They do. I have a feeling this is a case of, he's not playing great right now, and he makes $5 million, and we're right against the cap. That's what this screams to me, because he makes $5 million for 7 more years. He's 23 years old.
Yes, I always forget how young, because he did the 2016 draft. Yeah.
The thing for me is looking at the defensemen they have. They have they have 4 very good left-handed defensemen, if I can count right. Right, Girard, Taves, Byram, and then Ryan Murray, where that's where you kind of drop off. But he's a suitable left-handed defenseman. I just wonder if that's the move. If that's the move you want to make.
I can't believe he's only 23.
Yeah, because he made it right away. I know he played a few games for Nashville, and then he was also in the World Juniors. And then it's weird to me because I always kind of felt, with that contract, and I know he's not doing as well, just that was a steal of a deal, because I thought that he was just going to keep getting better, that you had him at $5 million, that you had these other younger guys. And I think for me, the big thing was, okay, you have Ryan Murray, you don't have him for very long. That's $2.5 million right there.
Right.
And then you have Eric Johnson, and I don't have it up, Alex, but how much is he making?
2 more years at $6 million this year.
Yeah. And you're not going to trade that, but you could at least wait until that expires.
You say we thought he could get better. He's 23. He can still get better.
He's also good right now anyway.
Yeah.
He's just good. He's the kind of defenseman you want in the game right now. Think of that. A guy who's going to be, by the end of that contract, it's going to be a steal. Is he just not like Shane Gostisbehere, you think? It's just, he's a good.
Don't give him the Shane.
I think it's just.
Dude, Gostisbehere's been good this year. It was just Philly. No, because you know what screwed Gostisbehere is the coach who knew how to play him left, and they brought in Alain Vigneault, who the players seem to hate, and coaches like he's a turtle. That's always been the thing against Vigneault. He's too defensively minded. Yeah. So you bring in he was already there. This great. There's a reason he played in the World Juniors and all that. Segment Daniel doesn't know about coming up, by the way. We're going to test him about World Junior stuff. But you know what I mean? I just wonder if it's just he's an offensively talented, great defenseman, and I think they're dumb. Yeah, by the way, Daniel, you mentioned how Eric Johnson's 2 more years. He expires the same time as McKinnon. So just give that money to McKinnon and keep the good defenseman you have. What are you doing?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's just because, we were talking about Sam Girard for so long and how good he was. And how he's a future piece.
He still is good.
Of the Avs. Yeah. The thing is,
he's good.
I don't know, like, was it the usage that was affected this year? Was it like, because like Bowen Byram's getting better, but at the same time, like Devon Taves, like it's just with Colorado, it's just kind of like, for me, it just, they had these crazy deals that they did, but are they just overstacking things to a point now that you're not using players properly?
I don't know why cap is an issue when Nathan McKinnon's going to take less, as he claims. I don't know.
Like, was it necessary to get Devon Taves?
No, but here's the thing. It doesn't matter. You're good if you keep both of them.
They also have... Sorry, go.
No, it just doesn't make sense because, again, Erik Johnson's money goes to McKinnon. It's not a problem. So
they have a boatload of money next year.
Does it help them keep Kadri and like Burakovsky?
Okay,
sure, but
so
what are you doing?
They have $25 million in cap space. They have to then re-sign Francouz, Nishushkin, Kemper, and Burakovsky and Kadri, which are a lot. Like, that's a lot of guys you got to re-sign if you elect to bring back all of them.
Yeah.
But I think if you're so concerned about cap space, there are a couple guys that, you know what, maybe I'd rather trade them than Sam Girard. Like, one guy that stands out to me personally, JT Compher, 26 years old. He's not horrible. He's a good he's a good usable NHL player, but he makes $3.5 million.
So, like, think of it like this: $20 million gets you Burakovsky and Kadri, right? Like, that's not a problem, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So okay, McKinnon, again, that's not a problem because Erik Johnson gets his money. Okay, that's because that's what you worry about McKinnon, right? So he'll be locked up. Erik Johnson, goodbye. Sorry to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's taken care of. You McKinnon. Landeskog is locked up. Rantanen is locked up for 4 more years as well. So your core is set. Makar is also extended. Devon Taves has a few more years. That might be a bit tight, but your window to win is right now. Your window to win is before McKinnon's contract is up anyway. So, not to mention, if you see that he's being taken off of practice, and it's not public knowledge you want to get rid of him, and again, playing him on the third pairing with Jack Johnson, the value all of a sudden has just tanked. So, trade him later. Again, it's just... You don't trade young defensemen before they're ready when they have so much talent. You don't just get rid of them.
Or just don't trade them at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Learn from Nashville.
Leave it alone. Yeah, stop trading your star defenseman. Honestly, they could still have Jones. And I know Jones isn't great, but like Jones in their system, not only Nashville plays, maybe he'd still be good.
Well, they needed a number 1 center.
Yeah, and Matt Duchene's all right.
No, it was Ryan Johansson, right?
I know, but that's a joke.
Yeah.
Yo, Duchene, I was telling Alex, like 10 points in 12 games, off to a hot start. I'll tell you.
Isn't it crazy? At one point, they had Matt Duchene, Ryan Johansson, and Kyle Turris.
Yeah.
Ryan O'Reilly. Oh yeah.
On Nashville.
On Nashville.
But in Colorado, you're right too. It was just Duchene, McKinnon, Stasny, O'Reilly.
It's also funny how Nashville, all those centers sucked. Nate Bonino was the best one. You're like, how?
Yeah.
They have Luke Kunin, so it's okay.
What?
They have Luke Kunin now. They traded Bonino for.
Turns into an 88 in NHL. Alex, do you want to do this game with Daniel?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Alex and I were talking last night. And we're like, how much does Daniel really know about the World Juniors? So, Alex went through some old names and just pulled them out. At first, we thought about Tyler Steenberg, but I think he had a gold medal winning goal.
Yeah, he did.
So I was like, Daniel will know that. I think it was against Sweden.
Yeah. That was when they're like, this is the blue collar team. Sam Steele was the first line center.
Yeah, that was the hey goal song. Yeah, I remember that was a great team. Anyway, so Alex, go ahead, and we're gonna see Daniel's extent knowledge to see if he knows.
I'm so nervous. I might say the wrong things.
Okay, so if you could tell us what years they played on the World Juniors, is that what we're gonna do, Adam? Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, first one. Joel Hofer.
Oh, Joe Hofer. So he won the gold medal. So that was 2000, and I'm gonna say 2018, 2019, because that was because that was the no 20. Wait. So this past one was 2021. So they won in 2020, and he was the goalie because that was Alexis Lafreniere, and Barrett Hayden was the captain.
Lafreniere.
Lafreniere.
Yeah, it was the 1920 season is when he went to the World.
Yeah, because he replaced Nico Dawes.
Okay, off to a good start.
Wow. Okay, I will get you the next name. Colton Point.
Oh, he was. I remember. Colton Point. They didn't win that year, but because I always get him and Connor Ingram confused. Because Connor Ingram was with Carter Hart, and Colton Point was 2017.
So it says 2017-18, but it's technically 18, is it not? Isn't that how it works?
Oh, yeah.
Like it starts in 2017, but it goes into the new year. So I think they count it as 2018.
Okay. So
he won gold in 2018. He played one game.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had a shutout.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 2 for 2. We'll take that.
Okay. Mason McDonald.
Oh, that was, I remember that year because that was the Braden Point was the captain. That was when Mitch Marner and Travis Dermott were on the team.
Okay, which year was it?
That was 2000, and that was like considered one of the worst teams. That was when, like, okay, fun fact for that year. Everybody was a captain who was chosen for that team.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
That was because Marner is 2006. That was 2016.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They placed sixth.
Yeah, that was a really bad team. That was well, I don't like saying his name now, but I just remember that everyone was disappointed in Jake Virtanen because he was one of the returning players from the gold medal team, and then he just was terrible.
Continued to disappoint his entire career, and now he's in Russia because he's a scumbag. Anyway, who's next?
Okay. Dylan Hetherington.
Oh, so I know he was drafted 2013. He went to the Blue Jackets, I believe, because that was the pick traded for Tristan Jarry. Thinking played 2014. No, I got that one wrong.
2015. But you got everything else right. Drafted 2013 and by the Blue Jackets. Next name, Jake Patterson.
Oh, I remember he never played. He was the third goalie. I remember that. That was 2000. That was the lockout year. That was when Ryan Hopkins was the captain because that was when they started having 3 goalies. So,
yeah, he was there. He didn't play a single game the lockout.
It was Malcolm Subban and Jordan Bimington.
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I believe you.
And they
clearly, I believe you.
They placed 4th that year.
And then he also was on the team the year after.
Yeah.
Okay. Anthony Camara.
Oh, that was.
Oh my God.
2000 and man, that was the year Mark Byzantine was on the team. I remember that. I'm trying to think, like, where was I in life at the time? That was 2000 and wait, was he on that team?
He's doing
I remember.
right.
I remember he got a suspension because he like speared someone. It was him and there's 3. So before I say it, 3 guys that I remember always got suspended for 1 game for spearing people. So the 3 players was Anthony Camara, Boone Jenner, and
yeah. But what year did Camara play though, Daniel? We need to know.
That was 2000. 2012?
2013.
13. Oh, I got that wrong. Because I know he's drafted 2011.
Yes. Okay. We're almost done. JC Lippon.
That was 2000. That was 2013. I remember. That was the lockout one, I think, because he was the only undrafted player when that team was super stacked.
Yeah. Alex and I were trying to figure out how to say his name, and you got it right.
Yeah, JC Lippon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just remember Gordon Miller said it so well that I always remember it like that. Because he was not drafted in his original draft year, and then the World Juniors helped him get drafted by the Jets.
Okay, 3 more names. Quinton Howden.
Oh, he played 2011 because he was drafted 2000. Because I actually saw him play. Because that World Juniors was in Toronto and Montreal. So
God damn it.
In the round robin, I actually got to see him play against Sweden.
Yeah, he played in 2011 and 2012. Okay.
Guys, it's 2 minutes in and Montreal already losing. God damn it.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, Ad.
Hate it.
Curtis Hamilton.
Oh, that one has to be. Wait, no, that's a trick question because
it's not a trick question.
No. I mean, like, because I'm like, no, that's Freddie Hamilton. That's because him and Dougie played on the same World Junior team together.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, apparently, okay, this is a rumor. Okay, I'll go back to Curtis Hamilton. That was a rumor that apparently that's why Dougie wanted to leave Calgary because like they placed his brother on like waivers or something.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Hamilton. I'm gonna get this one wrong. Is that one 2008?
No, it is 2011.
Oh, okay.
He was on the U18s in 2008.
Okay.
Okay, last one. Olivier Waugh.
Oh, that's that one's 2000 and.
What can you tell me about Olivier Waugh? Or is it just probably Olivier?
He was drafted by the Oilers, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Was he a goalie?
Yeah,
he was a goalie.
He was. Ooh, okay. I see what you're
okay, wait. He played 2011, 2012?
2010, 2011. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I remember he was the goalie with Mark Visentin the first year. Okay. And then he lost to Sweden in the shootout, and then okay, you're gone.
You know he plays for the Panthers, right?
Olivier Waugh?
Yeah. The Augsburg Panthers in the
there. I'm like, oh, yeah, I thought he was gone.
No.
I am so impressed that you were able to, like, you knew all the players. Like, whether you knew the year or not, you knew the player.
Yeah.
I just remember Colton Point, and that's it.
I don't remember. Like, the only one I knew was Dylan Hetherington, and that's because he was always like a top 4, top 60 in NHL, and I just pick him up for my AHL team.
I think it's just, I don't know, it's just the root of my fandom for hockey, because I started watching the World Juniors when I was really little, right?
Yeah.
And my first year, like, I was in senior kindergarten or something. And I'm like, oh, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh, big fan of him. And then he gave up that goal, and you're like, oh, no. Anyway, okay.
Before we move on, funny story about that. You know how, because that game was in Europe, right? So it was earlier in the day. So you couldn't watch it. I was in school. So we were listening to it on the radio. And then I'm like, oh, Canada's winning 3-1. No way they're losing this. And then my French teacher was really mean. And she's like, no, like, we're not doing that for they. We're actually doing a lesson. You're not listening to the gold medal game.
She's the reason they lost.
So he turned it off. And then when I got home, my dad's like, yeah, they lost 4-3. I'm like, what? No, they were winning.
That's when you realize that no lead is safe.
That's when one last thing. That was probably, and this probably happened many times in my childhood, I felt a loss of innocence when I realized Canada could lose in international tournaments.
Mine was the year Troy Terry crossed our hopes and dreams. Coached by our good guy.
Him and Trevor Zegras. I'm like, can I like these guys?
Yo, Seagrass was that year was so good. Last year was so great. I was just rooting for Caulfield and Seagrass just being like, this team, they've just been beating up on bad teams the whole time. And they won and they brought the garbage bin out. And it was like, it's a barrel we're jumping over. No, it's not, Trevor. You're calling him
new Trevor.
Hilarious.
If he weren't on the Ducks.
He's the reason that Caulfield's didn't have a good start of the year. Besides, the bad usage. It was because he's like, he's going to score 40 goals, and it didn't happen. And thanks, Trevor. I hate Dom Ducharme so much. Anyway, everything's going well for the Leafs. Bit of a snag against the Kings because of the Danault effect, and obviously because they played every Leafs legend known to mankind. Okay, so listen. Because we're running out of time, so we're going to quickly go over the Habs and Leafs here. I know everything's going really well in Toronto right now, and it's all the thing of when the big guys are scoring, it's lovely, isn't it? I love to see it. Not really because I don't cheer for them, but it's cool, right? It's very nice.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about one thing.
If you say, are you going to say lack of depth scoring? Because I don't know if I can have this conversation. I'm so exhausted.
I just see it, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but you're not going to win in the playoffs with 4 people scoring a goal.
No, you're
know what
not.
I mean?
No, I fully get that. It's just like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how the depth scoring was the only thing keeping this team afloat. So like, I have trouble saying when and Campbell. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, of course. Jack Campbell. It was tough for me to now have the talk about, the scoring, like lack of depth scoring. I'm like, I'm sure that's going to come back. Like, it's just ups and downs. Like, yes, it's a concern, I guess, but like they're winning with the exception of that LA game. I don't know if it's as much a concern for
shout out
moment.
Andre Kasha.
Yeah.
100
points now?
He's looked good. I got to say, it's unfortunate.
Redemption
he's on a
year.
Deal. Yeah. Redemption.
He'll get he'll leave and sign for too much money in Ottawa next year.
No.
Probably.
He's an RFA. He's an RFA.
Oh, really?
Arbrights, yeah.
Arbrights, get out of here.
I already knew that was going to happen. We mentioned it in the summer where there's going to be a back and forth between Nick Ritchie and Andre Kasha.
What does Ritchie have? Like an assist?
Yeah, no, Ritchie's not like, don't put him in the top 6 again.
Yeah,
fair
enough. It's such a heavy fourth line with Jason Spezza when they do that.
I'm more than okay with it.
Pretty okay. So for a team that I know that they're on a budget, that's an expensive fourth line when they have Wayne Simmons and Nick Ritchie together.
Wayne Simmons makes 900, doesn't he? 900.
Oh yeah, it's not
it's not 1.5.
No 1.5 anymore. My apologies.
I get really concerned when I'm like, the Leafs are going to have to add some depth to the deadline if they want to go for it, right? But I'm like, how the hell did he do that without trading Kerfoot, who's like good? You know what I mean? Remember last year when we did our trade things and it was like every trade we were making was and Kerfoot's in it.
Oh yeah. They were, and that's a good question. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
We're gonna revisit my Ricard Raquel trade.
Maybe probably not.
Listen, I can't make super trades every other year, guys. This is difficult enough.
No, we're gonna go all in with the super trades again for the predictions.
I know it was a super trade, but Jack Eichel did end up on the Golden Knights.
Yeah, you got that one right.
Let's put it here. We start like you started that. It was on this show.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So you're welcome, Vegas. Maybe if you had done that, maybe you would have beaten Montreal. Probably not because you suck, but anyway.
By the way, I loved his suit, by the way. Jack Eichel, when he was at the Vegas game.
He is loving being a Golden Knight, eh? Good for him.
I'd imagine.
That's pretty nice.
Better than whatever it was before.
I mean, yeah. Not having a good neck. Anyway, having his surgery tomorrow, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Wishing him the best.
What? Yeah. Well, yeah. Quick recovery. Yeah. Defy all logic. Come back to the Olympics somehow. If I'm USA Hockey, I'm making a spot just in case.
Yeah.
Who the hell? Who else am I going to give it to? Brian Rust? Get out. Brian Rust.
Maybe.
What a loser. You're not going to win anyway because Canada's super stacked, but
exactly.
Maybe you'll beat Russia. You still
they have no centers.
Well, no, they're not Russia. They're the Olympic athletes of Russia.
I remember predictions for them, and they have out of, I guess, necessity, Vladimir Tarasenko is playing center.
Hey, at least he's good again.
Because Evgeny Kuznetsov cannot play.
Yeah, and I don't know any other Russian centers.
Hey, listen, Kovalchuk's gonna figure it out.
I know one. Vadim Shipachev.
Yeah, he'll be there. Number 87.
Stop.
You a scumbag.
Stop. No,
Who wears
I'm done
that?
with 87. I'm done with that number for now.
Okay. I like David Singh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm biased. I had him as a writing coach. Listen, when you are taught by someone, it was the feature he obviously did on Mike Babcock. When you're taught by someone who does features for a living and he teaches you how to make a feature, listen, David Singh in that article did not say Mike Babcock deserves a chance. What David Singh did was he got quotes from the family, from players, and he did a very good job of explaining what it's like to, from a player's point of view, be coached by Babcock. They talked to some of the younger players on that team. There was some of the good stuff. There was even some... Listen, all I'm saying is nothing is going to be in that feature for nothing. And stop giving David Singh a hard time because it's a great article. Listen, I need people to really understand what he was writing there, because he wasn't just going all the way, to Saskatchewan or whatever. David Singh is not an idiot, and people need to understand. And please actually read the article, because half the people who reacted to that didn't. I'm biased, obviously, but listen, I've read it twice. I read it again before we started the show. It isn't just saying bring Babcock in. You can say don't give him a voice. No, we give people voices in this country. We're not about that kind of stuff. But lay off of David Singh. I know what he was doing in the article. If you've read it, you knew what he was doing too. I'm not saying it was nefarious or anything, but he did a very good job of laying everything on the table. He mentioned the Marner stuff in that, and he showed exactly what Mike Babcock's attitude still is. And that's what's important.
Yeah, I think it was a lose-lose situation. If you didn't include the Marner stuff, you were going to get backlash. If you included the Marner stuff, you were going to get backlash. To me, all that proved is Mike Babcock hasn't changed.
Yeah,
that's the main issue is that he hasn't changed. And I think personally, my issue is mixing the two together. It wasn't overall. I don't know how you would have done it differently. It's just, I think mixing how he coaches in Saskatchewan and mixing the incident with Mitch Marner and Johan Franzen, I just think it was a tough read from that perspective. It was a tough read to watch to read the stuff about him coaching in Saskatchewan and all the crappy things he did in the NHL. That's what my biggest peeve was about it.
What's funny? Obviously, the university hockey scene it's just recently started. The Huskies, they haven't lost their first 4 games. I think David mentioned in the article, which means obviously, I don't know the exact timeline of when he went to Saskatchewan, but I don't think it's a coincidence the timing they came out. And I think showing that Babcock is sort of the stuff I did do that I should be apologizing for. I think it was a good thing to have Ben Sherratt scored again. How funny is that? I think I think it's very good he did the article, regardless of how you feel like he did this part and this part together, because it should remind the public that even if it's he hasn't changed, he hasn't. And I think it's important to put that out there, because it will also remind, because you know what? A lot of reporters have gone quiet with the Chicago stuff, haven't they? They have.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The big guys have. So I think what David has done, whether he meant to or not, and I'm not saying just because he taught me, I talk to David Singh every day. That's a Sportsnet feature writer, great guy. But I'm just saying, what he has done without knowing it or not has reminded people of what he's done. Not to mention again the organizations, and he's a Hockey Canada type guy. I feel like it's going to remind people of what he did, and if he hasn't changed, and that will stick in people's mind. Not to mention, I don't know if you guys noticed in the article, but he mentioned how he was almost up for the Washington job before Laviolette got it.
Yeah.
So it's a reminder of guys, he's still trying to dig in, but with everything with the Chicago stuff and this timing, people are going to see that. And because it's a Toronto outlet, it's going to get more attention, which is a good thing. And people should, again, be reminded of Mike Babcock and why he shouldn't be in the league anymore. So, listen, he's there till I think March. Babcock makes very clear a few times in the article.
Because he was supposed to be there last year. Last year was supposed to be that 1 year, I think.
Oh yeah,
and obviously
canceled.
Obviously, the entire season was canceled. So I guess they pushed that.
Fair enough, but just he shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there anyway. And listen, and altogether, it was a good article by David.
It was.
Yeah, it was great.
It was. I'm not denying that. It was just.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not saying you are. It's just like it was a good article.
I like what you said, Alex, where it was a lose-lose situation because, again, like as an informed reader, you wanna, you want to see, okay, what's the update on all of this? But at the same time, too, it's just when you kind of try to address to what has happened before, there's still going to be people saying, like, okay, why do you have to bring this up again? Or it's just, this is nothing new.
You know what I think turned a lot of people off? Not from the article, but from the past. I think a lot of people watched that Christine Simpson interview and had the exact same reaction as Elliot, which was, that was rough. And
Pierre LeBrun interview too.
And the Pierre LeBrun interview. But I just personally, and this is my belief, but I'm not as aggressive as other people. I don't want to hear from him anymore. Like, unless he has something different to say, I just personally don't care. But that's just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
There's to be a book on this.
There will be one day.
Hopefully,
I hope so. The 2015 to 2021 Leafs or whatever.
Maybe you write it, Alex.
Or you probably get you do the Shanna Plan series.
Yeah.
And he gets a significant part in that. I don't know. They could do that.
Maybe Daniel.
Alex, take notes. I believe in you.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, checking in on the Habs now, and with Ben Sherratt scoring tonight, he is now tied with Mike Hoffman for the most goals on the team with 4.
Congrats, Ben.
Sorry, Ben Sherratt has 4 goals. Did you hear that correctly?
Which is good for him, eh?
The first all-star team pairing, Ben Sherratt.
I know he hasn't played, but have some respect for the fact that this team has Carey Price on before you put Ben Sherratt in the all-star. Get out of here. Stop it, you. His career high in goals is 9.
Yeah, I just went to look
his first year in Montreal.
Wow.
He has offensively had his best years as a Hab. Good for him. This is already this season is his second highest goal scoring in his NHL career so far. That is hilarious.
Wow.
Ben Sherratt, the sniper. What a frustrating player.
Noted sniper, Ben Sherratt.
Yeah, man. Big Ben with the equalizer. Man, it was just an ugly, I don't even know what. Oh, he pinched. It was a decent goal. Right? Suzuki had the assist, by the way. Great year. What's going on with the Habs? I mean, apparently they're interested in Krapsov. Saravelli reported that both them and the Sens. That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't lie. Especially, there was a report, I think it was from Andy Strickland, that if there were 2 defensemen that the Rangers were targeting, one would have been, I can't remember his name. He used to be in Carolina, I think. Is currently on the Blackhawks. DeHaan.
Oh, DeHaan.
Calvin DeHaan. And the other was Ben Sherratt. So if there's a trade, and somehow the Habs can get Krasov and Ben Sherratt goes the other way, I will not let Mike's coming on the show to react to that. I want you to know that, guys. Besides that,
can I just say I don't know that. I guess you get rid of Ben Sherratt. I guess I don't know how much that fixes anything. First off, from what I hear, they need a center, and again, the wingers there's plenty of wingers. Your future goal scorer is currently in the AHL, so he's going to come back up. If Krasov is going to play in the bottom 6, we're just going to end up it's
the same situation.
It feels like we're just going to end up in a similar situation down the line.
Yeah, well, don't forget, he didn't want to report to the Rangers AHL, but he would report somewhere else. Listen, all I'm saying is you get a young player with a lot of skill that they don't want to. Listen, you're still pulling up a player that has clearly been mishandled by another organization.
Correct.
And I think they need to trade a D. Because, again, when Edmondson comes back, there's a logjam there. And I don't want to see one of Weidman or Niku or Romanov pay the price, or Kulak. So, and again, they have too many of those Ds. And, I'm just saying, if it's around to be done, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'd take a chance on him. He's a top 10 player with lots of skill, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to like come in and be like, doobity doo.
No,
but we'll see. Especially too if Norlander plays well and he's up with the team and he's finally healthy, or if he ends up going to Frölunda, who knows? But beside that, with the Habs, they lost to LA in overtime. It was an honest loss. What's new? Jake Allen looks tired, but a surprise. Phil Deneau was booed. Got his applause, but it was booed, but a surprise. What's important to talk about with Montreal, though, and the reason we're passing there is because we've been going for a while now. The big thing is Carey Price released a statement saying that he went into the assistance program for substance use, as well as he also cited mental health was a big thing for him, and he had been in a bad place for a couple of years. It was another thing I put on my Instagram story. It's very difficult to explain how inspirational it is. And listen, I am not someone who loves putting that mopey, sappy stuff on. You guys know me. I'm not about that. So when I say this, I mean it. It's very difficult for me personally to explain what it means to see a guy like Carey Price explain what's up with him. He obviously didn't go into too much detail, nor does he have to, nor should he be expected to. He asked that he still be given space by the fans, the media. Guys like Eric Engels have been like, that's cool. Guys like Jack Todd were like, he needs to explain stuff because Jack Todd is awful. But it speaks a lot to Carey Price's influence about how he unknowingly has helped a lot of people by admitting that he needed help. He really and sort of citing what's up with him. It's cool.
Yeah, and I think one thing is he is the star player in an extremely huge market. Like, he is the star play. And when I mean star, I mean star. And I think, Adam, we've had this discussion and you could confirm it. For the last, 10, 11 years, it has been Carey Price. He has been the constant of this team. Yeah. Right. And I imagine it takes a toll when I say this, I'm not trying to call out Montreal's fan base, because it's not just Montreal. It's every single fan base, but in a bigger market, there's more people. It's just the reality. So at the end of the day, like, these guys are human. Like, the constant going after them takes a toll. It takes a toll on anybody. Like, it would take a toll. I'm sure it takes a toll on the guys who are on TV, the guys who are on radio, the guys who play in the bottom six. It takes a toll. It doesn't matter, right? They're just human at the end of the day.
I think, it speaks volumes for arguably one of the biggest stars of the league to come out and be vulnerable like this with the general public, stating what he's been going through, what he needs, and what needs to happen right now. And again, we've said it so many times, but we wish him the very best, him and his family. And for when these things kind of happen, it's what we've said before, is hockey is secondary right now. As much as we joke about the Habs and what's been going on with the results, that's all secondary. That's all just whatever right now.
The Canadians haven't been perfect, far from it, for a lot of stuff this year. Logan Mailloux being a very big one. And the team, we have been very critical of them. But one thing they have been doing right, and it's no surprise that it's two important hockey players, is they have been very good when it comes to Jonathan Drouin. Not to mention, I mean, that guy, I always thought to myself during the playoffs, like, does Jonathan Drouin kind of hate himself right now? That he is seeing his team go to the Cup Finals against his former team, the one he requested a trade from, the defending Cup champs. And does he feel bad that he's not around that team? And, they brought him back. They didn't trade him or anything. They had faith in Jonathan Drouin. And obviously, Carey Price is, he's Montreal. He has been for such a long. It's really, when it comes to the grand scheme of the entire league, Carey Price is one of the superstars. Like, he is. It's just a fact. It's just you're happy to see him get help, and you hope whenever he does come back, that he's 100%. Exactly. And listen, he's not going to rush back. They've already said there may be a stint in Laval if it's in like Belleville or something. Imagine if it's against the Marlies. We're gonna go to that, right? If it's
we're gonna go to that.
Toronto. Wasn't his first stint?
Cool.
This first stint he played? Did he not play the Marlies?
He did, yes.
Right, yeah.
He did. Remember, he let in some goals, and people were like, "Oh no!" And then they
would it have been?
It was cool.
I don't think it was, but was it the one? No, never mind. I thought maybe it was the one that Freddie, because Freddie also had a stint in the AHL. But what are the chances? Two NHL goalies playing against each other in the
Imagine
AHL.
Freddie Anderson, Carey Price, and Brendan Gallagher.
And Brendan Gallagher was there too. Yeah,
that's hilarious. Okay,
that's funny.
I think we covered everything. But yeah, freaking get well soon, Gary. And take your time. That'll be pretty hype.
Yep.
I think that's everything.
I believe so.
Good.
Twitter check.
Alex, Daniel, do you have any recommendations for any food places in the city of Toronto that people can go to? I don't know why I'm asking that, but
Daniel does.
It depends what you want, right?
The one that you were telling us before.
Oh, country style, not the coffee place. I'm sorry, I keep saying Austro-Hungarian, but it is a Hungarian restaurant. Excellent food. What else? Slab Burger. That's near Bay Station. That is it's an independent place. It's my favorite burger place in the entire city. Right near Ryerson is Kabul Express, Middle Eastern food at Church and Dundas.
Yes.
Love the food there.
And not in Toronto, just north of it. Gotta shout out Golden Star.
Oh, Golden Star. We're still
burgers.
Everything's back to normal. We wish them the best, but
oh man, no.
We need to push.
They are thriving. Every time I drive by,
I know it's so busy.
Slammed. Every time I drive by, no word of a lie. It's insane.
We need them to be sponsors.
That's the place you've been wanting us to go there.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's right near Alex's house. Amazing burgers. It's just something that's slowly becoming a reality again with a lot of restrictions easing up.
Do you guys want to know a funny stat?
Sure.
So Ben Chirot has joined Roman Josi and Aaron Ekblad as the top goal-scoring defensemen in the league.
Nice.
Congrats. I predicted this. I knew it was going to happen.
And that's why they should trade him, because his value will never be higher. He's a free agent this year, too.
I'll definitely do it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't wait. You're just going to get like a second at most if they wait.
If they get a second for Ben Chirot, that's amazing. Wow. I'm telling I'd take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, man.
You come to me on the draft floor, and that's the last pick in the second round. I'm saying, sure.
Yeah, you said second. I'm like, oh my god.
Because I don't know, if there's still top prospect wingers out there. We'll see.
I'll take Brad Marchand for Ben Chirot. Second rounder. Braden Point to third. I'll take that.
No.
You know what Papadatsu? 13th round or whatever. Andrei Markov was like a 9th rounder. We don't even have 9 rounds anymore in the draft. Okay, I believe that's everything.
Yeah.
I am so upset that we have not. I just saw this thing of Tortorella believes McDavid has to change his game to win the Stanley Cup. You're not just going to fill the net during the playoffs. You know what? I wonder if I listen to this if he makes sense, but no one will. I love Tortorella. I really hope he gets hired. Please speak French. Anyway, that's it. You should check out the TikTok. Because why wouldn't you check out the TikTok? Beside that, you could check out the Facebook. Facebook. So download the show on Podcast Apple Podcast. Because why wouldn't you? Daniel has sent a thing in the tweet, so we're gonna look at that. Is he being sneaky? Oh, Daniel, how could you? How could you?
Sorry, it was Haley.
Sending a meme about Mangiapane scoring against the Habs. How could you?
Sorry, it was Haley.
Bread, and it's a cat. Why is there a cat?
Shout out Haley Salvian, my apologies. She is doing amazing work. Yeah.
You can do the outro.
Well, you already got what? Facebook, Twitter. Did you get Instagram?
I didn't say Twitter, but...
Oh, guys, check out Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're all there. Amazing content. We're fun guys. Thanks again to our wonderful, wonderful platform, VoiceDead, our sponsors. And can I say them, Alex? So PODGO.
Just one.
Just PODGO?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, no, we can't say HelloFresh anymore?
No.
Yeah.
No? All right.
I want to ask what happened about that. But
I will.
PODGO.
I try to explain.
Okay,
But
just PODGO, but we will talk to you guys, Sunday?
will we?
With more cards. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And hopefully, some I know that these are important topics we need to speak about, but I just wish everything is a bit more positive with the NHL going forward.
Yeah, I wish the league didn't suck.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.